All right, so welcome to Let's Talk Television, Season 3, Episode 11. 11 already that we're at. I said I was surprised last week that we were already on Episode 10, and now we're at 11. So anyway, sorry for the little bit of a late start there. On my screen, or at least on my side, it was saying it was loading or something like that, so I just gave it a few extra seconds there to get going, but it looks like it's going good now, and it looks like the audio was all good to go with the stream there as well. So anyways, welcome to Let's Talk Television episode 11, talking about some of the news from this week in television, of course, from what last episode 10, up until today at on Saturday. So anyways, I appreciate those of you who are tuning in live, and those of you who are tuning in afterwards. Appreciate it. And for sure, please share your thoughts, comments, questions on any of this news that we talk about, or other stuff too, if you want, in the live chat if you're watching live. And then also afterwards, you can leave a comment on the video, or leave a question, and then I'll answer that in next week's video. If you leave a question, I'll dedicate some time towards answering that towards the end. So anyways, yeah, I'd love to hear your thoughts on any or all of this news here today. A lot of Walking Dead news, and I didn't really purposely mean to focus this as a Walking Dead news thing, but it just kind of is the way that things worked out this week, especially with the big mid-season finale here with The Walking Dead on Sunday night this week. So anyways, yeah, a lot of Walking Dead news. So if you're a Walking Dead fan, for sure, a lot of this stuff you'll probably be interested in, and it'll be pretty relevant to you. So anyway, so let's get into it. Of course, as always, for every episode of Let's Talk Television, I start out with a spotlight, and that will be the thumbnail and title, and that will kind of align with the spotlight segment. And so that will be, of course, today, Tom Payne expressing his frustration over his exit on The Walking Dead, which of course has everything to do with the mid-season finale for Season 9 that we saw. And then the rest of the news segments I'll be talking about: Walking Dead, Daredevil, Robert Kirkman, Preacher, and some stuff with Norman Reedus and his reality show, and that'll all be in the description as normal before the episode, so you guys know what we're going to be talking about. Anyways, so let's jump right into the spotlight here, and of course this spotlight is huge spoilers for The Walking Dead Season 9, but I assume by now, with all the buzz, the people who wanted to see the episode probably have seen it by now, and the people who maybe haven't caught up yet, that's kind of their loss, because it's been all over social media and the internet, if you're in Walking Dead circles, like I am with Twitter and stuff like that. Even, their official Twitter, of course, right, is kind of filled with spoilers in there too. So anyways, let's get into it. Just wanted to say that off the top, just in case, right? You never know, but I assume that everyone that wanted to see the episode, the mid-season finale, probably already saw it by now. So, all right. So, Tom Payne expresses frustration about exit from The Walking Dead. And so this one is from The Hollywood Reporter. This is a really interesting article, because it's an article focused on the interview that they did with Tom Payne, and these comments that a whole lot of other outlets were reporting on, and media places reporting on, were from this interview that he had with Hollywood Reporter. So this is kind of like the main source of where all those comments came from, where those stories kind of broke, and it actually was kind of a big story. After Sunday night of The Walking Dead, I think on Monday, I think this article was Tuesday, that this one came out, or maybe it was a Monday, I don't know, one of the 2 days there right after the mid-season finale, and then this kind of came out that Tom Payne was really kind of disappointed and frustrated with what happened. So I thought we'd talk about this because, I have my own thoughts about this, and especially my own thoughts about what happened in Season 7, not only to Tom Payne's character, Jesus, but a lot of other characters as well with The Walking Dead, which could have very well been the worst season of The Walking Dead yet in Season 7. So, anyways, so let's read this. It's actually quite lengthy here, and the article itself is even more lengthy. Like, honestly, I tried to kind of condense stuff, but anyways, this is a little bit long one. We'll, go through reading it, and then, of course, share my thoughts and talk more about it. So, here we go. Tom Payne gets candid about his exit. It was constant frustration, and that's his quote. And then, quote, I spent a long time hoping my character was going to have more to do. The outgoing series regular tells The Hollywood Reporter about the reasons behind the shocking mid-season finale death. So Jesus does die, of course. For Walking Dead comic book readers and show-only viewers alike, Sunday's mid-season finale ended with a massive shock: the death of Jesus, Tom Payne, a fan favorite figure who remains alive and well in the comics. Jesus's season 9 death comes at the hands of the Whisperers, the newest enemies in the AMC zombie universe, who wear refurbished skin suits in order to blend in with the dead. Given his character's untimely demise, one can only imagine series regular star Payne's sadness over walking away from The Walking Dead. In a candid conversation with a Hollywood Reporter, Payne, who has been with the series since season 6 and a regular in the series since season 7, says he was happy to leave the series following years of frustration over the direction of his character. In the comics, Jesus is easily one of the group's fiercest fighters, a fact Payne believes the show neglected. The character's final stand in Payne's mind was much closer to his vision for Jesus all along, making it a note that he's more happy he's more happy to go out on. So he's very happy with the actual ending to Jesus's character, but he's very frustrated that we didn't see more of that, essentially, right? And so he says, I know people will be disappointed and shocked. He tells the Hollywood Reporter with a smile on his face, but I'm happy. Was it? And then, so then he's asked in the interview, was it your choice to leave The Walking Dead, or was this a decision from the writers? And he says, they were aware I wouldn't be unhappy if they got rid of me. I expressed unhappiness last season. I was very frustrated with what the character had been doing. He arrived in a very cool way, and then he floundered at the hilltop. During the war with the Saviors, the only person he had a fight with was a man who was on his own side in Morgan. In the comics, he's the most capable member of the entire group, and he wasn't used at all on the show. In the background, I was training every single week. I was ready and raring to go. You can't help but feel a little bit despondent when you're not released to do some cool stuff. It's an amazing show, and I was honored to be a part of it, but at the same time, being the same character without anything fun to do is a bit frustrating. So, unquote. So those are all of his comments there, replying to, was it your choice to leave? And so he's essentially saying, no, right? It wasn't my choice to leave, but I wasn't, too mad about leaving because of what they've done with this character that I'm playing. So, and, I bet this happens more often, in TV shows. It's just in this case, you have that comic book material to compare it to, right? And that's where I think the serious problem with this is, you see Jesus as a character in the comic books, as, a badass and doing all these things, and then TV show, he does none of those things, right? And we see this with even other characters in The Walking Dead between the comics and the show. And I mean, if you want to start even talking about why characters aren't around anymore, with Andrea, a huge character in The Walking Dead comics right now, and she has been in the show forever, but then, of course, you make the argument Daryl is in the show and he's not in the comics, and he's pretty awesome. So, anyways, yeah, so, you're comparing it to the comic book material, saying, wow, Jesus is a badass in the comics, and he hasn't had any of that in the show. And for Tom Payne to go into this knowing about the comics, he's probably read the comics. I assume that a lot of the actors probably do read the comics, especially if their character has the type of presence that Jesus does in the comics. So, Tom Payne reads the comics, he goes in, he has this impression that this is going to be a badass character. Even the first episode where Jesus was introduced, like he says, was a badass episode for Jesus. It was a really awesome introduction, and I think he's right. I think ever since that introduction, he has really just faded into the background and just become another character. And so, yeah, so I mean, if you don't have the comic book material, well, yeah, then it's not a huge deal, right? Because it's just a character, and that's the way that the writers have decided to take it. But because of his presence in the comics, this is such a frustrating thing for Tom Payne and a lot of comic book fans. I mean, I've heard a lot of comic book fans very frustrated with Jesus's character depiction in the show as well. So, Anyways, I will say going into this mid-season finale, I talked about this a lot in the review as well, for the episode that's up on my channel if you want to check that out, of course, but I did say in that one, I kind of suspected that Jesus was going to die. I still can't quite put my finger on it. I just kind of sensed it, and especially the main thing that led me to believe was on Saturday, the day before the episode aired, is Tom Payne himself put out on Twitter, saying, you know, oh, like, it's a crazy episode tomorrow, tune in, right? And he doesn't usually do that for, like, some cast members, like Norman Reedus, like, every Sunday, he's like, all right, tune in the episode, it's a crazy one, right? It's awesome. But Tom Payne doesn't usually do that, and so he did that, and I'm like, okay, I think he's definitely gonna die, and especially the building that they did in episode 7, Walking Dead, a telltale sign that a character is going to die is the episode before, the episodes leading up. They get a lot of character development and a lot of focus just kind of out of nowhere. And that's exactly what happened with Jesus, and he is then killed in the mid-season finale at the end. So, to me, yes, it was still a very impactful death, and I still think it's maybe one of the better deaths, at least, on The Walking Dead, but I did kind of see it coming, ultimately. And so, for me, it wasn't as much of a shock, but still, of course, like I said, very impactful, and a great introduction to the Whisperers, right? Great introduction. But I could see where comic book fans, see, I've heard a lot of stuff about the comics, but I'm not up to date. I don't read, every single issue like that. And so maybe I wouldn't put myself in the same, kind of circle as comic book readers who are up to date and read avidly, because I could definitely sense their frustration as well, along with Tom Payne, that Jesus now goes out like this without really ever reaching his potential as a character. And let's be honest, I mean, we've seen that with a lot of other characters on the show. I mean, Carl, like, that's maybe one of the main ones in his whole arc coming up in the Whisperer War from the comics. We're never going to see now. We might see it with Henry now depicted, but we'll never see it with Carl, because he is dead. So, this is all going with the show kind of deviating from the comic book material, and they definitely will be in this one because Jesus is now gone, Carl is now gone. With the upcoming Whisper thing, they're going to have to change quite a few things to kind of adapt this story now onto the screen. So, anyways, and also what I want to talk about is this whole thing, this whole kind of hole that The Walking Dead dug for themselves in Season 7. And I think Tom Payne and his character Jesus were a victim to this. So, in the comic books, you have a lot of characters, and even in the comic books, I think at times, I mean, in an issue, right? I mean, how many pages an issue? I'm not exactly sure, but it's not the longest thing. It's not a novel, right? Like, so, even having too many characters in a comic book is a problem, let alone a TV show that has 42 minutes a week, to display different stories. And the way The Walking Dead works, especially with Season 7, is they did so many episodes focused on specific stories, right? And some people call them bottle episodes. Okay, right, fair enough. And so their episodes kind of focus on specific stories. And with that approach, it is so difficult to have 20 characters. It was almost like 20 characters, main characters, not necessarily series regulars, but 20 main characters in Season 7 that we wanted to follow and that we wanted to see in every single episode, almost, right? Almost, I would say it's close to 20. It's definitely closer to 20 than it is 10. We'll just say that, right? And so, for that reason, it was so tough for The Walking Dead, and that's why I still think Season 7 was maybe one of the worst seasons, if not the worst of The Walking Dead, because they had so many characters, and they just did not have enough time to depict all of them, and that's by, just like Jesus, I mean, he fell totally victim to that, right? I mean, he was definitely overshadowed by tons and tons of characters. Ezekiel had a big storyline at the well, in Season 8, he had a big storyline. He was kind of neglected in Season 7 as well, up until that point. Of course, Daryl got a lot of focus in that in the first half there. Not a good focus, but he got focus. And just all that stuff. So, overall, the show made a huge mistake in integrating so many characters together. But it wasn't even necessarily that. It was integrating these characters, but making them kind of all main characters, instead of having, side characters and characters that, of course, like, we have a lot of characters in Walking Dead that we'll recognize on screen. Maybe we don't even know their name, or we don't really care, right? Like, if they died, okay, okay, they died, but it's not gonna, impact us a lot. But in season 7, they introduced us to all these communities, right? But they made so many characters in there, so many memorable characters and characters that mattered to us. And in season 7, they just weren't able to show all these characters. If you understand what I'm saying, I'm and so the point I'm trying to make, I guess, is that they kind of they tried to take too many characters and too many communities all at one time in the show. And I understand that they were kind of following the comic books, and maybe the comic books had that many really cool characters. But I think in the TV show, I think they made a mistake in kind of strictly sticking to that comic books. And even they added their own characters too, like Jerry and a couple others. They definitely added characters in there on top of already the flooded field of characters that were coming for the comic books for season 7. So overall, Jesus fell totally victim to this in season 7. He did not have a big role at all in my memory. I don't think so. He didn't have a very big role. And in season 8, he didn't have a big role either. I mean, he was kind of Maggie's right-hand guy, I guess, a little bit. But even then, he didn't get a lot of screen time, and he didn't get a lot of presence. And like he said, his only big thing was his storyline with Morgan. I mean, like, think back, like, that is true. I mean, the only fighting he really did was with Morgan, the whole season 8. So, and especially then comparing that to the comics, it's just sad, the discrepancy between the two. It's truly sad. So, anyways, Jesus really fell victim to this, and you know what? A really great way to go out, though, I will say. Maybe they made a mistake with all these characters, and they made a mistake with Jesus, but they did not make a mistake with his death, and that's something that I think can be redeemable for the show and the writers going forward. And I don't know. I mean, and it's kind of a mistake that you can't correct at this point, because you can't just you can't just kill off 5 or 6 of these main characters now all at once to kind of fix the problem, right? And it is ultimately a problem. Not necessarily as much anymore, but it just really was with season 7. But anyways, and maybe it really wasn't, again, maybe it really wasn't a problem that they could avoid in season 7 with the whole storyline that they were trying to build. They need all these characters, right? And it just turned out to be way oversaturated, and Jesus was just one of those characters who just did not have enough screen time or, enough time to really develop. And he was just really an underdeveloped character, I believe, especially when comparing it to the comics. So I totally understand Tom Payne's frustration here. I think his last sentiment here really is a good way to describe my feeling, and also his as well, of course. So he says, "It's an amazing show, and I was so honored to be a part of it. But at the same time, being the same character without anything fun to do is a bit frustrating." And I think that's what his main sentiment is. He says, you know what, I was thankful in being on the show. And he, of course, anyone who goes on The Walking Dead, their career exponentially grows after being on The Walking Dead. I mean, we've seen that with Sonequa Martin Green, John Bernthal, for sure. Who else? Michael Cudlitz, you could even say. Just pretty much everyone who leaves The Walking Dead has a good career afterwards, right? And so Tom Payne definitely is probably going to be that. He's probably going to get some more roles in the future because of The Walking Dead. So he's thankful, but playing the same character for 3 years, right, or 4 years even now, without anything fun to do is a bit frustrating, and I totally understand him. So I'm not mad at Tom Payne. I totally understand his feeling, and I totally, and this is going to be a constant problem even ongoing with all these characters they introduced in season 7. I would say some of them are definitely gone by now. I mean, Dwight for sure, he's gone, and Jesus now as well. So I don't know. This might be an ongoing problem. I still think there are a lot of characters who are still underdeveloped as a result of season 7 still in the show. So, anyways, it's sad to see Jesus go, but like I said, one of the maybe the best deaths of the Walking Dead series. I mean, it was really great. A great introduction to the Whisperers. And I love this thing that they pointed out in Talking Dead, was that Jesus was a character who introduced them to the Saviors, but then also introduced them to the Whisperers, and then died introducing the Whisperers. So just a really cool kind of cycle for that character. Even though maybe he didn't have all this stuff from the comics and it wasn't a really developed character, it was cool that he was able to do that introducing of both groups and kind of that acting as that bridge between the two. So that was kind of cool. So you know what? Something good comes out of the Jesus character, and definitely will be missed on the show going forward. So anyways, really great stuff. Tom Payne, an amazing actor, and like I said, I hope his career really does well after this, and I think it will. I think, you know, every Walking Dead star comes out of the show really does well. So, you know, good on Tom Payne. So anyways, guys, let me know what your thoughts are on that one. You know, maybe I talked about this one a little bit too long, but anyways, let me know what your thoughts are. Okay, so okay, I'll get to this one quick. Planet Earth says in the live chat, he says, it's a shame that they didn't give the Jesus character more scenes. It was so Negan heavy that it really took the 2 seasons down. That's a really good point, actually. I didn't even really recognize that, but the Negan part of it, that is such a good point, actually, because the focus on Negan really took away from Jesus and even a lot of the survivors then in season 7, because you remember, you know, some of those bottle episodes, people like to call them, or focused episodes, were only on the Sanctuary and Daryl too. And so, yeah, you're totally right. I mean, a lot of the survivors, even not just Jesus, kind of fell victim to that and didn't get as much screen time because of all the stuff with Negan and the Sanctuary and the Savior characters, especially with Simon. Like, Simon had a lot of screen time there in season 7 and 8. That took away from a lot of the survivors who still are alive now, and Simon's dead. So that's a good point too. And then he says, also in the Telltale games, Jesus is pretty badass as well. Yeah, a lot of people playing the games with him. And he says, true about the best death. I seem to remember at the time we were bombarded with Into the Badlands, and maybe it was a conflict. Yeah, Into the Bad. I mean, I think, like, it's actually, you know, Jesus could be into the show Into the Badlands. He's that kind of character, and from the comics at least, he's that kind of character. And the ending in his death was kind of that. I mean, the slow motion kicking. Yeah, you're right. I mean, that's really similar to the stuff that we see in Into the Badlands. And it's just sad that we didn't see more of that, right? I think that's the main point here with this whole story and Tom Payne, right? You understand his frustration. So thanks for the comments there, Planet Earth. You make a really good point with Negan and the Savior focus. I didn't even really think about that. But yeah, that's a very good point as well, with all that stuff. And you know what? That was necessary too, though, to build up that whole war storyline. So, you know, you kind of got to give and take. It's a really big thing about balance. And I mean, Walking Dead has 16 episodes, and they still really couldn't achieve that balance. Like, that's a lot of television, but it was just really hard in the way they went about stuff. So anyways, all right, so let's move on to the next topic, which is still The Walking Dead, you know, still going on kind of this theme, and I thought I'd pair these two together at the beginning of the episode here. So anyways, let me know what your thoughts are on that one for sure, and now we'll get on to the next one. All right, so I want to take a look at, for the episode, is The Walking Dead Mid-Season 9 trailer review. Just review this and kind of give my thoughts on it. Of course, this one's on the AMC YouTube channel, and this one was posted on, I believe, Sunday night or Monday after the Season 9 Episode 8. So, the description reads, there's a new enemy when The Walking Dead returns in February. Really awesome stuff. And the trailer is titled New Enemy. So Walking Dead, of course, returns February 10th, if you haven't heard, Sunday at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. And so that's, you know, that is the return date for The Walking Dead Season 9B. And then it'll run about until, I think, the end of March. March 31st, actually, I think is the date. I could be wrong on that one. But I think it's then to the end of March runs The Walking Dead Season 9B, the second half. So, okay, so I'll break it down and do my thoughts on the trailer specifically, and then some of my thoughts and predictions for the second half of Season 9 here with this trailer. So, thoughts on the trailer. Love the music throughout the little trailer here. It is a minute long, by the way. It's not a huge trailer. It is more kind of like a teaser or a sneak peek type of thing than an actual full trailer. But I did love the music throughout. I mean, just even in this 1 minute, it was really great. The very first kind of line of the song, "You Better Watch Out," in the first few seconds there as they arrive at the hilltop with Jesus in a, or at least they arrive at his body, and then later he's in a casket being lowered into the ground there in a grave at the hilltop. And so that was just really cool. The music throughout the little trailer there was great. A lot revealed with the whispers in this trailer. I mean, I think a lot more than maybe people thought there would be. see. They show us Beta, Alpha, and Lydia, the three kind of main characters who are coming out of this Whisper arc. They show us all three of them in the trailer, in this little teaser. So that's great for comic book fans who recognize these characters. I guess we didn't see all of Beta. I think we just saw the bald head from the back of the character kind of walking up the trail up to the hilltop. So we saw that, and then Alpha is the bald one. Beta, then we see with the kind of the blue face and the red hair coming down, played by Ryan Hurst, by the way. I'm really excited to see him, Sons of Anarchy actor, of course. And then Lydia we see in the jail cell as well, talking to Henry, who looks like going to be taking Carl's story. So really cool stuff that they introduce us to all three of these characters already in the trailer. We may have seen a little bit of a sneak peek at the fair scene taking place with a few of the flags up there hanging at the kingdom, it looks like. And so we'll have to see if that actually, I assume it would happen in the season 9 second half. But it is interesting that maybe did we actually see the fair in that trailer, or is that maybe preparation for it? I'm not sure. And one of the biggest things in this trailer is that we also see a Michonne flashback scene. We know this because her hair is still the same as it was before the big time skip. And so this means that we're going to see a flashback with Michonne and possibly an answer to what happened to Alexandria in between the time skip. Can't wait for that. Really want to find out more. And then, of course, we end off, really great ending. Negan is back to the sanctuary. He does that whistle, that savior whistle, right? And he says, "Home, sweet home." And then it kind of fades in with the TWD letters on the screen there at the end. So that was really great ending to the episode. So we know he gets back to the sanctuary, and it looks like he is holding something that looks like a bat. It does not look like Lucille, but it does look like he's found something at least, another bat possibly, and he's holding that. So it could be Lucille, though I don't know, but it doesn't look like it. It doesn't look like it has that wire wrapped around it. So anyways, really great trailer here. Like I said, only a minute long, but it gave us some great stuff. So really great stuff. So, of course, then my thoughts on the season 9 second half after watching this trailer. I think the scars, an answer to what happened with the scars and what happened in Alexandria between the time skip will definitely be explained. Especially after seeing this flashback scene with Michonne in the trailer. Yes, I think it definitely will be explained. And I did a video on this, giving some of my theories if you want to check that out. What happened to Alexandria. It's titled there, discussion video. So, yeah, I've already kind of said my theory, so I'm not going to do that again here, but I think it'll definitely be explained in the second half, and I'm looking forward to that. I think it's going to be bigger than a lot of people are kind of sensing right now. I think it's going to have a lot of impact. So, of course, the Whispers. I mean, that's huge, right? The whole thing about the Whispers is now coming to fruition. A lot of comic book fans, they're excited. I am too. I'm really excited for the Whispers. I think they're going to be a group that really, I mean, it's kind of cliche, but something that they have never really seen before. And I think they're going to make a lot of impact for the characters and the show just in general in this season. I think it's going to really bring back that horror to The Walking Dead. So, anyways, of course, a lot of Whisper stuff. And then, of course, we might see Negan trying to build something again, maybe at the Sanctuary. But it looks like all the Saviors are gone. So I'm not sure what his plans are there, or if then he's going to maybe find a group, or maybe even join the Whispers. A lot of stuff going on with that. And then, of course, we might see this fair storyline play out similar to the comic books, I'm thinking. And so that fair storyline will probably play out here coming up. And then maybe even in the mid-season finale, we might see the fair actually happen between these communities. So anyways, let me know what your thoughts are. If you read the comics, obviously you know kind of what direction they're going in. If you haven't, let me know your thoughts, some predictions on what might happen here with the Whispers, what will happen with Negan, and all that stuff. So some really great stuff in this trailer, though. Overall, AMC, good job to them for releasing this trailer. Like I said, only about a minute long, but it actually reveals quite a lot within that minute, and it really kind of gets you hyped, right, for the upcoming second half of Season 9. So, anyways, yeah, really looking forward to Season 9 second half after this trailer and the mid-season finale. Crazy one there. So, The Walking Dead, really good place right now going forward. All right, so, yeah, so that's my thoughts on the trailer there, and now let's move on to the next topic. All right, so here, and now we're talking about Daredevil. So I'm going to just put a disclaimer out there right now. I have not seen Daredevil. I'm not a big superhero guy. Really not. I mean, I haven't seen any Marvel Netflix shows. I don't think I watch Marvel much of anything, to be honest. It's surprising. A lot of people love Marvel these days. I just don't, really. I just don't. I watch dramas. I don't really watch a lot of superhero stuff, if any superhero stuff. I even wanted to watch The Punisher because of John Bernthal. Love him from The Walking Dead. But I didn't even watch that. I didn't even get around to it. So, I don't know. I'm just going to put that disclaimer out now, but I know that this is such a big story in news this week, so I thought I'd talk about it and mention it in a really good article here on Deadline about this and kind of explaining it. So, if you want to go on there and check it out, for sure, do that. I mean, I think that's going to be a lot more insightful than what I'm going to give my thoughts on, of course, because I haven't seen it. But I do think this is kind of, overall just a trend with Netflix going on, and I think that's maybe what I'll talk about. But anyways, let me read some from the Deadline article here, and then I'll give some more of my thoughts. So, and of course, if you guys have thoughts on this, please share, and let me know, what do you think the real reason is why Daredevil got canceled on Netflix? Because it seems as though, a lot of videos out there, the real reason, but it doesn't seem like someone actually has a concrete answer as to what the real reason is. So I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts. The axe continues to fall on Marvel's series at Netflix. Daredevil, which launched the Marvel Universe on the streaming platform, has been cancelled after 3 seasons. The move comes on the heels of Netflix canceling Iron Fist and Luke Cage last month. But Daredevil seems to have an afterlife elsewhere. Marvel's Daredevil will not return for a 4th season on Netflix, the streamer said in a statement tonight. We are tremendously proud of the show's last and final season, and although it's painful for the fans, we feel it best to close this chapter on a high note. However, unlike Iron Fist, unlike Iron Fist or Luke Cage, the door seems to be wide open for Daredevil, perhaps on the upcoming Disney Plus streaming platform. While the series on Netflix has ended, the 3 existing seasons will remain on the service for years to come, while the Daredevil character will live on in future projects for Marvel, Netflix said. That last sentiment was echoed by Marvel's statement issued Friday morning, which said, "We look forward to more adventures with the Man Without Fear in the future." The cancellation of Daredevil so soon after its highly anticipated and acclaimed 3rd season was released now leaves only 2 Marvel series on Netflix, Jessica Jones and The Punisher. The era of Marvel TV on Netflix seems to be coming to an end at the same time Disney is revving up its own streaming service. For now, the upcoming new seasons of Jessica Jones and The Punisher are still currently scheduled to run on Netflix as planned. So, interesting stuff here, and my humble opinion, Jessica Jones and The Punisher, I don't think they'll get any more than 1 more season, and they will both be done as well. So, this is unfortunate news for Marvel fans and Netflix, Marvel Netflix fans, because they really had a lot of potential here, especially with all the universes being, the CW has their own kind of Arrowverse or Arrow universe going on right now, and that whole crossover thing that's happening in a month, getting a lot of buzz. Of course, all the movies, Avengers, and all that stuff. So there's a lot of universe stuff, and Netflix really had a lot of potential for their building their own kind of Marvel universe on Netflix with all these shows: the Daredevil, Punisher, Luke Cage, Iron Fist, Jessica Jones, and more, right? And it just seems like they've folded that. I mean, they're totally kind of relinquishing that possibility. And like I said, I honestly don't think Jessica Jones and The Punisher will be on for more than 1 more season. With this whole trend with canceling Daredevil, I don't know. I mean, Daredevil season 3 was really successful with fans and critics. Punisher was too, to be fair. But I think if Daredevil's canceled, yeah, I think these 2 other shows will be canceled as well. But anyways, again, let me know what you think the real reason is, or whatever the reason you think Daredevil was canceled at Netflix. But I think ultimately, I think in the article they talk about the strained relationship between Marvel and Netflix and some of the disagreements that they had on the way. And I think this whole thing is just kind of a trend with Disney Plus, right? Creating their own kind of streaming platform there, and them developing a lot of Marvel stuff on there for their own platform, right? But it does, you know what though, like, this is kind of funny because Netflix in this statement says the 3 existing seasons will remain on the service for years to come. Like, so they're kind of being hypocritical here, right? They're saying, we're canceling, the show going forward because well, whatever the reason is, but they're canceling the show, right? Off the network. There won't be a fourth season. There won't be another season. But then they're still gonna, capitalize on all the viewership and all the money from the 3 seasons that are gonna make on their own platform, right? And then even though if Daredevil goes on to Disney Plus, it goes on to some of their series or whatever, something like that, the 3 seasons are still gonna remain on Netflix because of course Netflix has the rights to it, right? And so I don't know, it's just kind of funny because Netflix is now of course gonna take advantage, right, of the 3 seasons that are already up there, even though we will not see another season on Netflix. So anyways, I wonder if they're going to do that with all the Marvel shows. Like, let's say they cancel The Punisher after this next season, like my prediction. Are they going to keep The Punisher 2 seasons on there too? Like, it's going to be kind of like, kind of like a battlefield, right, of all these Marvel shows that are just canceled on Netflix. Like, imagine someone, a year from now going on Netflix, right, and looking at all these Marvel shows, and they're going to realize, like, none of them have an ending. Like, all these shows were prematurely canceled, but they're still going to remain on the platform, even though we may even see some crossover then with the Disney Plus. So it's a really weird situation, and you know what? I don't blame Netflix. I mean, if it's making them money and they're getting more viewers, okay, fair enough. Like, you keep it on the platform, but it's just kind of funny how this has all worked out. It's kind of ironic, to be honest. So, anyways, it is what it is. Again, my opinion, I don't know. I don't know a lot about it, so, I honestly, I would read the Deadline article if you want to learn more. I'm sure if you've already, if you're into this stuff, you probably already heard it from someone else. But anyways, guys, Daredevil canceled on Netflix, and like I said, I don't think Jessica Jones and the Punisher they don't have a lot of they don't have a very long future ahead of them either. So that's my opinion, though. I don't know. So anyways, guys, let me know. And Disney Plus making a lot of big moves here, a lot of announcements about their upcoming series, and so a lot of people are kind of getting hyped for that as well. So yeah, I don't know. Let me know what you think of all this. Let me know, are you going to get a Disney Plus? Are you going to pay for it, I guess, when it comes out? It's 2019, right? February, I think I've heard. Or January, is it? I don't know. But in the next couple months, it's coming out, apparently. So we'll have to see what happens with that and how it goes. So anyways, let me know what you think of this one. All right. So, now on to the next one. And this one, back to The Walking Dead. Not quite, though. About Robert Kirkman. All right. Okay. Oh, okay. So Planet Earth says. So he says about the trailer. So, okay. So we'll just quickly mention this now. Coming back to the season 9 trailer. Can't wait for this second part as well. It is supposed to be the worst villains ever. Yeah, hopefully Negan will redeem himself and we find out about the X. Totally agree with you. He says, this is an epic time for television. There are so many great shows and not enough time. Pros and cons for actors. Definitely. Definitely. And that relates even to the Daredevil thing, too. It's a great time for television. Like, if you think about this, I mean, sorry to go back to Daredevil after I just kind of wrapped up talking about it, but, if you think about this, like, really, like, two streaming platforms are fighting over, their material and what shows they can make and the multiple shows that they're in the works for. Like, this is crazy, right? Like, it's insane. I mean, honestly, like, it truly is kind of crazy to think about, all this stuff going on with the streaming platforms fighting for all this television material and all this stuff. So, you know what? This is an epic time for television. You're right. I mean, even if all these networks, like, it seems like it's bad and they're all fighting, but, like, they're fighting over, like, such good material and all that stuff right now. And even if, I mean, Netflix kept, Daredevil, let's say, or all this Marvel shows, Disney Plus is still going to have a really great collection of shows themselves. So, yeah, no, I totally agree with you, man. But, yeah, so anyways, let's move on then to Robert Kirkman news. Robert Kirkman's Skybound and eOne team for new series. So this one's from Deadline as well. And it reads, The Walking Dead wrapped up the first half of its 9th season just a couple days ago, but the man behind the comic, Robert Kirkman, has a brand new 5-year plan. Robert Kirkman's Skybound Entertainment has inked an agreement with Entertainment One for the series based on an idea by Kirkman of the final 5 years before a fatal meteor hits the Earth. The two companies will co-produce, and eOne will handle the financing and distribution for 5 years. So that's the title, 5 Year is the title of this new series. Kirkman's idea is a much more global and simultaneously localized approach within its premise, with international deals already in place for Korea, the UK, Latin America, Germany, India, Russia, China, and Italy for the 5-season series, and more in the mix. The Kirkman, David Alpert, and John Goldman run Skybound aim to localize 5 Year to take advantage of the scope of the small screen. That means evolving beyond the initial Korean deal announced in 2016 to where a different version of 5 Year will be produced for each market, with narratives and characters set in that region. Those individualized 5 Year will be in that local or nation's own language while following an overall timeline for the entire series. So Robert Kirkman then says, one of our biggest goals at Skybound is to elevate creators by offering them a platform to create compelling stories. Working on 5 Year, Working on 5 Year is an exceptional experience because it gives us the opportunity to see how writers and directors across the world tell the different stories with the same core ingredients. We're excited to have eOne's expertise in global storytelling for this project. After years at AMC since The Walking Dead's 2010 debut, Kirkman signed an overall deal with Amazon in August 2017, with Skybound having a first looked pack. So this is interesting stuff too, because it looks like the series will be distributed by eOne, and so I'm not sure how that works. I mean, yeah, I don't know. I guess the details haven't been firmed up yet, but does that mean then it will be on Amazon eventually when this kind of all gets settled? I'm not sure. But this is really preliminary news here, but I thought it was definitely interesting to think about. I mean, the idea behind this thing is crazy. Robert Kirkman, man, he's doing some great things along with Skybound for sure. So the whole idea is, the story, 5 years, right? Each season will be a year before a fatal meteor hit Earth, right? Again, another apocalyptic story for Robert Kirkman, right? But anyways, but the most interesting thing about this is that it looks like there'll be different series from each of these countries that will be like the same storyline of this fatal meteor hit Earth the 5 years before, but it'll be in their own languages, their own, culture and setting will be each series. So this is really interesting news, honestly. I mean, it's something I don't think that we've ever seen. I mean, have we seen something like this? That it's like, so imagine The Walking Dead, right? This is like The Walking Dead, only you have a Walking Dead Italy, you have a Walking Dead, UK, and it's the exact same type of story, but with all different characters in a different language and different settings and everything. I mean, this is crazy. Like, this is crazy to think about. So how this will all work out and when we'll even get to see this, I don't know. It might be a while. But just hearing all about this is really interesting news. And again, like I said, I think this is really preliminary stuff. Like I said, I don't know when we're even going to see this happen, but still, it sounds really, really cool. And so I'm not sure. Well, it sounds like we're seeing an American one for sure, and then we'll see other ones. It says Korea, the UK, Latin America, Germany, India, Russia, China, Italy. So at least like eight places, and then along with the US. So yeah, probably like close to 10 places will have this series named 5 Year. And I'm not sure, or maybe do they mean that each episode is focused in a different place? I don't know. I'm not really sure what all of this means. The article's a little vague here, but very interesting stuff. Robert Kirkman, you know what? Like, gotta give him some credit for developing stuff like this. And he also has another series coming as well. I think on Amazon. That's another kind of story like The Walking Dead. So, anyways, Robert Kirkman, really great mind. Crazy stuff, really great storyteller here. And again, I'm not sure if this one will be coming to Amazon too. But then how would that work with, is it going to be on Amazon Italy or, you know what I mean? So, I don't know. We'll have to see. This sounds just really interesting. So, let me know what you think of this. Is it interesting to you? It sounds like something cool. I'm just in it because I know Robert Kirkman and I can trust him from The Walking Dead. And so, I'm definitely interested in it. And I think it's a really cool concept. So, let's see what happens. I mean, could this actually just completely collapse and not have? I mean, maybe it's possible. I mean, yeah. But I think, it would be interesting to see. So, yeah, again, preliminary news, but I think this is really cool. So let me know what you think of that one. All right, so nose just a little stuffed up. So, anyways, on to the next topic here. So, yeah, some really cool stuff there from Robert Kirkman. And so, okay, so Planet Earth says, thank you for following along, by the way, Planet Earth, really appreciate it. So, he says, very interesting, so I guess this is the countdown for our Walking Dead show. I'm not exactly sure what you mean, but I think you're on the track of talking about a different show in a different place for The Walking Dead, right? I think that's what you're talking about. Maybe clarify that. I don't know if I'm on the right track there. But totally. I think that, again, sorry I forgot about that, but I did want to mention that with the whole Walking Dead universe and AMC saying they're going to extend it and all that stuff for a decade, right? And talking about taking The Walking Dead to different places. Yeah. I mean, yeah, I think that's totally... there's definitely a correlation between that in doing that too. I think a lot of people have been talking about a UK Walking Dead. That's going to happen. That's going to take place in England. So, man, that's going to be, yeah, I think that could definitely happen. Even the movies people are talking about with Andrew Lincoln could be taking place in England. So, yeah, it'd be really cool. Yeah, that The Walking Dead is coming to an end. Yeah, and I mean, the original series could be, and then we'll see all these other spin-off series. But you also made a good point there too. Could The Walking Dead be coming to an end because Robert Kirkman's working on all this, on all this other stuff? Because remember, he's still an executive producer on the original series and for The Walking Dead, I believe. So he has a lot of stuff going on. But yeah, no, you might be right. I mean, maybe this is a trend. Maybe Robert Kirkman is kind of moving on to other things. I don't think necessarily that means the series will end, but it may mean that his involvement may end with the original series. But anyways, that's kind of a talk for a whole other video. But yeah, so very interesting concept there for sure. All right, so let's move on to this one. Preacher renewed for season 4 at AMC, to the light of a lot of fans. So this one's from Variety. Preacher has been renewed for a 4th season at AMC. Preacher is a show unlike any other on television, said David Madden, president of programming at AMC Networks. A passionate base of fans found their way to Jesse, Tulip, and Cassidy and have followed along with their adventures, at times indescribable adventures, for 3 seasons. We are thankful to our partners at Sony and to Seth Rogen, Evan Goldberg, I think, and Sam, I forget his name. Sam, yeah, I forgot his name, and Sam, for everything they have brought to this series, which we are pleased to renew for a 4th season. Like the super fans of Preacher, we can't wait to see where this journey leads next. Production on season 4 will begin in Australia in early 2019. And so, of course, season 3 finished August 26th. So this was already about 3 months in the making that fans were kind of waiting for this renewal announcement. And I think some people were becoming skeptical, right? Seeing, you know, are we going to get another season of Preacher? I think it was kind of up in the air, but now the news comes out that it has been renewed and it will be coming in 2019. Of course, we're going to get a shift in the setting, at least. I'm not sure they're going to make it clear in season 4. I'm not caught up with Preacher at all, so maybe I'm missing on something here, but I don't think they're going to make it clear that it is a change in setting, but I think now that they're going to move the production to Australia. So, interesting stuff, or maybe that is for the purpose of a new setting for season 4. I'm not sure, but some cool stuff here with Preacher. Just some really great news for fans of Preacher, finally getting this announcement that it is renewed. AMC taking another crack at it. I'm not sure because ratings-wise, I think that's the main thing for AMC, and that's why this renewal announcement's a little late. And I don't know, we'll see. I mean, will it get anything past the season 4? We'll have to see how season 4 does. Maybe it gets some more attention from the fans. Now they're going to be happy that it's renewed, and so they're going to tune in more. That's a possibility as well. But anyways, we'll have to see. Let me know what you think of this one. If you're a fan of Preacher, this has got to be great for you. I know a lot of people on Twitter freaking out about this, really happy that AMC is doing this. So really great stuff. I mean, Preacher, Into the Badlands, The Walking Dead, they've kind of been their, you know, coined series for the last few years here, and they're keeping the trend going with Preacher, and renewing it for a 4th season. But like I said, I don't know if we're gonna get another season after that. Kind of up in the air at the moment. So we'll have to see what AMC does, and kind of a delayed reaction here to renew it. But at the end of the day, it is renewed, and that's all that matters. It's coming in 2019. So again, let me know what your thoughts are, and let me know what you think that we could see in season 4 of Preacher if you're caught up with the show. So really great stuff there. All right. Let's get to the last topic of today's episode, or today's news, which is Ride with Norman Reedus, Season 3 premiere date announced. So this one's actually from AMC Network. Just grabbed it off the website there. A couple things here, and we'll briefly talk about it. So today, AMC announced that Ride with Norman Reedus will return for Season 3 on Sunday, February 10th at midnight, the same night as the mid-season premiere of The Walking Dead. And then he says, So Ride with Norman Reedus follows The Walking Dead star and motorcycle enthusiast Norman Reedus as he hits the open road to explore local bike culture and celebrate the best and brightest collectors, mechanics, and craftsmen around the country. Each episode features Reedus and a riding companion as they journey across an unknown terrain and experience the culture surrounding them, with plenty of time for unplanned detours and tire changes. This season's guests, this is big. This season's guests include Austin Emilio, Dwight, Ian Anderson of Jethro Tull, I'm not sure who that is, Andrew Lincoln, Marilyn Manson, Melissa McBride, Jeffrey Dean Morgan, and Stephen Yeun. So I'm going to be watching because, I made my review for Ride with Norman Reedus Season 2 when it came out last year. I think they usually do this all the time. They align it with the Walking Dead premieres so that they'll get more viewers, of course. But I don't really like this airing at midnight though, because I understand they do Walking Dead, Talking Dead, Walking Dead rerun, and then they'll do this. But midnight, I mean, who's gonna watch it at midnight? I don't know. I kind of feel bad for Ride with Norman Reedus, the show, the producers and stuff, because I mean AMC giving them a midnight time slot. I don't know, but anyways, really intriguing because these guests are awesome. I mean, we're gonna see more of Andrew Lincoln, Austin Emilio, Melissa McBride, Jeffrey Dean Morgan, and Stephen Yeun. 5 Walking Dead characters that we can see kind of behind the scenes a little bit. Really awesome stuff. I mean, this is really great. So for Walking Dead fans, I really suggest you tune in. You know what? I'm not the biggest into bikes and all that type of stuff, but this show is still very enjoyable. Even if you're not into that, at least you can learn some stuff. But it's also more than that. It's focused on, bike culture, like they say, the culture of where they are. And I really love the episode. I did my review again. You can go on the channel, kind of search it up. I think it's on a playlist. But the episode with Jeffrey Dean Morgan for Season 2 was great. I mean, I was going in, I'm like, oh, I don't really like the bike stuff, but Jeffrey Dean Morgan's in it. But it was so much more. A lot about food and culture and all that stuff. And some really great conversations about the show between Jeffrey Dean Morgan and Norman Reedus. Just, if you want to see these characters, these people behind the scenes from The Walking Dead, tune into this show. It's really great, gives you some great insight. Of course, you're not going to get swearing and all that stuff, no, but it's still a behind-the-scenes look at them, and it's really cool, just kind of having a conversation with them and doing that. So it is, I think it's supposed to be a reality show. It's a little bit more than that. There's quite a bit of production put into it, I think, but anyways, really suggest it to anyone who hasn't checked it out, and I think it definitely deserves, to be, to come here with this Season 3. These guests are awesome. I'm really looking forward to it. So I'm sure I'll probably put up a review. I might do even every episode. I don't know. It's not something that you really review and do a recap of, so maybe I'll just give a quick thoughts of each episode and kind of talk about the guests. But anyways, guys, that'll just about do it for all the news. Let me know what you think of Ride with Norman Reedus, and if you've watched it, let me know what you think of it. If you haven't, really suggest you do with all these guests coming up. And Marilyn Manson, I mean, that's pretty cool. I'm not sure this Ian Anderson, Jethro Tull is, but maybe he's a big guy too. I just don't know. So anyways, really suggest check it out. Alright, so that will just about do it for all the news for this week with all the news there. And Planet Earth, thank you, man, for coming along and discussing with me as well. And for those of you others who are tuning in live right now, really, really appreciate it. So really awesome stuff there. Alright, so that'll just about do it for the news, but quickly before we end off here, I'll share my weekly notables from this week of television, breaking down my notable episode and notable performance from this week in television. Now, only from episodes that I've seen. Notable episode this week, gotta go with The Walking Dead Season 9, Episode 8, Evolution, the mid-season finale. Great episode. I still think if you take out the parts with Henry, that I didn't really like that part, but if you take out the parts with Henry there, this may have been close to a perfect episode. This was a really, really great episode, a great mid-season finale, and let me tell you, the last little sequence there of the episode was maybe one of the best sequences of the show ever. The whole introduction with the Whispers there and Jesus' death, that was crazy. I mean, just the visuals there with the fog and the cemetery, I mean, that is horror. That is what The Walking Dead was kind of first built on. And to see that now in Season 9, all the way now, is really great. So some great stuff there in the mid-season finale. Definitely my notable episode from this week. Notable performance. I'm going to give it to, I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing this right. So it's Benicio del Toro, or Benicio del Toro. He's from Escape at Dannemora, Season 1, Episode 2, Pablo Picasso this week, aired on Sunday. Wow, I am loving this series, Escape at Dannemora. Really suggested. It's based off a true story, 2015, prison escapees. I really want to do a review, but I just got caught up and I kind of forgot about it. So apologize for that, but I'm hoping to do a series review. Anyways, Benicio del Toro, though, or Benicio, he's amazing in this. I mean, he's really, really great. In this episode, he was great as well, playing one of the prisoner escapees from Dannemora there, of course, based on a true story. And the whole series is directed by Ben Stiller, so that's pretty cool as well. But anyways, definitely great performance in that episode and in the series. So anyways, guys, that'll just about do it for this episode of Let's Talk Television. Of course, let me know what your weekly notables are. Let me know what you've been checking out lately. I love to hear that. I love to hear what other people are watching too, to kind of compare to what I'm watching, and maybe I get some new shows, and maybe I give you guys some new shows to check out too, which is really helpful. I mean, I think like I find a lot of my shows from other people. I don't technically, I don't truly really find like a lot of shows myself, just kind of researching and stuff like that. I think it's a lot of other people saying stuff and kind of and saying some good stuff about shows, and then I check them out and I love them. So yeah, really great stuff. So anyways, guys, yeah, so Planet Earth says says, okay, so Jethro Tull, Old School Rock. Okay, interesting stuff. Again, yeah, I've never heard of him, but I assumed he was kind of a well-known guy. So yeah, really great stuff that you kind of know him, or at least you know some background. And then Planner says, exactly, totally agree that it was the best sequence of The Walking Dead, even factoring in Fear of the Walking Dead. Great fight scene, yeah. And I mean, this goes back to Jesus. I mean, that was maybe the best scene for Jesus as a character in the show too, right? Like, that was just, it was a really great sequence. So anyways, thank you, Planet Earth, for your contribution here, discussion. Really great stuff, and I agree with you, man. Really great stuff here from The Walking Dead. So anyways, guys, that'll just about do for Let's Talk Television. We have one episode next week, and then I have a big plan going forward in the future for Let's Talk Television and maybe this channel in general. So that'll probably be happening in, well, I don't know. I don't want to, set all these things and, make a big deal out of it. But anyways, hopefully we'll be making some changes. So one more episode next week, breaking down the news. And then maybe we might take a break and you might see a lot of differences happening. So anyways, guys, really great stuff here, though. Thank you so much for watching. And thank you so much for those of you who tune in live. Can't thank you guys enough. Really appreciate it. Probably the most viewers we've had for Let's Talk Television. So thank you guys. Thank you, Planet Earth, and those of you who viewed. So anyways, guys, again, thank you so much for watching this episode of Let's Talk Television. We'll see you next week for episode 12 and then off season 3 here on the channel. Once again, guys, thank you so much for watching, and yeah, we'll see you next week. Thanks, guys. See you later.